Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. It's been a while since I did one of these live streams, so I thought I'd come back. Just got back from vacation, and thought we'd go through some of these charts and some of these stock ideas that I've talked about, and maybe look at any subscriber stock picks, anything you guys want to look at as well. Probably go for about half an hour, 45 minutes, not too long today on this Sunday. Give me a thumbs up or leave a comment if you guys can hear me okay. Let me know the audio is all right. There is going to be a slight delay so on the comments. Can you guys hear me okay? Great. Okay. Well, we're going to dive right in, and as you know, people can kind of trickle in and just ask along. Yeah, I've been on vacation for a while. I went to Hawaii for about a week and a half, and you know, sometimes it's important to finally just let your mind rest when we're thinking about stocks and everything all the time, and constantly looking at charts. Good to let your mind rest every now and then. So I was looking at the markets. I kept an eye on it. I didn't see anything. There's a couple things that I do want to point out. Obviously, gold and gold stocks are starting to kill it. Starting to move up. And again, I've talked about these gold stocks for a while now. But we've been building. I personally have been building positions in the gold stocks over the last probably month and a half. Just each and every day we've been hitting those support lines. I've been, building a position. I don't buy all at once. I kind of add in. So let's look at some of those in case you guys are interested. And we'll just look at some of these stocks. Here's gold. This is gold bullion. Lots of stuff going on here. But the thing that the bigger picture, when you look at the daily chart, you've got this uptrend line right here, right? So there's your uptrend. See? This is your bull market. You're going to make higher lows, higher highs, and it is just a consistent bull market. Now, this is what you would call kind of a blow off top. And so in a bull market, if you go back and look at gold or really any kind of stock or any kind of index, anytime you have a long bull market or a sustainable bull market, you're going to have corrections within that bull market. And that's what I was viewing this as. So we had our blow off top right here. And this back during this time frame, this is where I was selling my gold stocks. So obviously I've been, I was buying Barrick gold all the way when gold was way down here. We were selling all the gold stocks up into this blow off top. And then the market corrected and gold went into a correction for, many, many months. And I wasn't buying the gold stocks. I wasn't really interested until I started to get down into this range right in here back in April. That's where I started to notice we started to build some bullish divergences, starting to hit support. So I started to build some positions. Was right off the bat, because we just basically went into a nice uptrend line. And we broke that downtrend as well. So I've been using opportunities as it's pulled back to add to the gold mining stocks and gold positions. And it looks to me like we're starting to resume the next leg higher in gold. So I'm not... As of right now, I don't think that this is just a small move up and then we're going to continue down. I'm viewing it more as a continuation of the uptrend. Now, it's not going to just go straight up. You don't want it to go straight up if you want it to be a healthy, consistent uptrend. When you just go parabolic like this, you end up, people take profit on big moves like that. So what I'm looking now is opportunities to continue to add on pullbacks to support. We have major support down here. Major support's all the way down here on the gold stocks. Probably could move that up right about there, but major support's down there. We also have some good support here at 1790. Again, looking at the weekly chart on gold bullion, 1790 is your major resistance back in 2011, 2013 on this weekly chart. You can see 1, 2, 3 tags of that. Couldn't break and went into a big long bear market. The other pattern you have on the weekly is this big cup and handle. I've seen other YouTubers talk about it as well. It was a rounding bottom before, so I talked about this when I started the channel, how we had this big rounding bottom right there. And that's an accumulation pattern where, you know, it's not a breakout pattern, but it's an accumulation pattern. We started to break out here out of the rounding bottom, and this rounding bottom has now turned into a cup and handle. So the way it looks is you've got this big cup here, and now you've got the handle that you made right there. And we're looking for this to break to the upside. And the big pattern would actually project us. What you want to do for a projection is take kind of the top of the cup and go down to the bottom, which is, you know, somewhere right in there. And then move that up to the top. And, you know, that's putting us up around 2,600 in gold bullion. All right, so that's what I'm thinking we're going to do on this next leg higher, is move up to about 2,600. And the miners should rip a lot higher. Moving through some of these miners, Agnico Eagle, you can see here, uptrend line right there. Again, this is a weekly chart. Let me go back to the daily. Uptrend line right there. And we just continued to hit support. Undercut it a little bit. See that undercut? But that undercut right there came with bullish divergence, guys. So when we undercut it, I was looking for that to be a bear trap, and sure enough, that's what it was. Then it recovered, came back down, hit support again, and we're just bouncing off of that. So I don't see any reason to not be long these miners. As far as I can tell, we're starting the next leg higher. Here's GDX, and then I'll look at some of these stock picks you guys want me to look at. Gdx Gold Mining Etf. Let me zoom out here. Again, I've kind of got this uptrend line marked out here in green. And, you know, big level right there as well, 3140. You can see as I zoom out, that's really where that's been resistance in the miners since 2013. We held resistance there, held resistance there. It was resistance here, here, and we finally broke above, and it's been support ever since. So support, support, support. And then we broke underneath it right here. So we failed that support level right there, but snap back above, held support, and off we go. So as far as I can tell, this was a bear trap. And again, it came with bullish divergence. So you'll see here how the momentum was, as we dip lower in price, momentum was still moving higher. That was kind of the tell that it was a high probability to be a bear trap as we started to dip lower, because you had that bullish divergence, and that remained intact. So yeah, that so far looks good on the miners. All right, let me look at some of these stock picks, guys. Leave me a thumbs up if you guys are in here, or if you're new and you've never been. I haven't done one of these live streams for quite a while, so if you guys are new to this, leave me a thumbs up and just leave a comment in the chat on any stock chart you want me to look at. I'll just try to scan some of them and cover them. So I'm going to start at the top, and okay, car. So I'm not in that one right now. Again, when things move against me, I take losses. And I'm glad I did get out of this. You know, I didn't get smashed by this big rip here. We were trying to short this thing earlier. Here's what I liked about it, I guess, originally, was we had this uptrend line coming off the March 2020 lows. So you got support here. I've got it circled. There's support. We finally broke support here, back tested once, continued to back test here, but we started to recover. We recovered that support right there. When we recovered that support, we started to burn through the divergences as well. So down here, it was like this. We had negative divergence as we were grinding higher here. We had negative divergence. This fell down to this level at 68. You know, it's about 69.50, and that's really all that it played out for. It started to burn through that negative divergence up here, and it was no longer intact. So we don't have negative divergence anymore. And, you know, obviously you had this big short squeeze that they put on it. This is likely the gamma squeeze that's been going on. We've seen a lot of that where The retail traders are loading up on call options and forcing the market makers to buy a bunch of the stock. It's called the gamma squeeze. Usually these gamma squeezes, after you see that, they unwind themselves pretty quick. But again, there's no negative divergence or anything. There's no reason for me to short this thing, so I'm not really interested in being short it. If you were long and you caught this huge rip, I would have probably taken profit. Anytime you see a one-day massive move like that, it's just wise just to take profit. You don't know exactly when it's going to stop, but you do know it's likely not going to just continue straight parabolic forever. So I think it's prudent to take profit on big days like that. All right, that's all I have on that one. Viacom, yeah, VIAC. I know that was that Alcaros smash, or there was some hedge fund that blew up on this one. I've charted it. I've been kind of looking at it, consolidating, I guess, right below resistance at 4209. You can see that's a key level. Yeah, that's kind of a level of support. A little bit of a bear trap right there. Support here, resistance. And we're basically just consolidating right below it. Bullish divergence is there. Let me mark that out. So it does have bullish divergence, right there. Just continues to build that bullish divergence on the RSI and the PPO. I'd probably wait for, I know it's probably a ways away, but I'd want to wait for a break above this 4214 area. And that's still about 20% up there. Yeah, so I don't know. On the hourly, let me see if I can see anything here on the hourly. I mean, ideally, I'd want to see some sort of a buy signal or breakout above that to probably trigger an entry. On the hourly, maybe you could trade this hourly chart. This looks like you got a downtrend. It's a bullish falling wedge pattern. So what you could do if you want to be more of an active trader is wait for a break or a buy signal of this bullish falling wedge here, like that, and then that would probably trade a move all the way up to there. All right, and then I'd likely take if I took that trade on the breakout above that bullish falling wedge, I'd probably take profit up here and then wait for the next buy signal or breakout above there to re-enter. That's how I would likely trade that one. Clear bullish divergence here on the hourly. See it right there? So we're just moving up in momentum, but still grinding lower in price. So yeah, your next buy signal is likely going to come on a breakout of that bullish falling wedge. All right, that's how I trade that one. DKMG, haven't looked at that one for a while. Well, there's your head, I had that marked out for a potential head and shoulders top, and so far that has been the top in DraftKings. You can see we came up for a back test right there of resistance. Let me extend that out right there. So there's your resistance right there at 63.80. That was your next level to short. Kind of in the middle of what I see as a range right now. Let's see here. You got some support right down here at 35.60. We're in the middle, so I think we're likely heading down to there. We made an equal low, starting to put in some bullish divergence. I don't know. I'd probably look at that level down there at 35.60, and we'll see what we got, if or when it gets down there. If it gets down there and you got bullish divergence, you're at support with bullish divergence, maybe you have a short little undercut of the level, and then it recovers, and that would be your buy signal. That's what I would look for on that one. Okay, what else do you guys got? What about a stock market crash? AP? Stock market crash? Yeah, I'm not really looking for a stock market crash. I am looking for a bear market, not necessarily looking for just a complete crash, but a bear market over time turns into a crash, because stocks can get cut in half over a period of a bear market. But a crash is usually defined as, you know, a very fast move down. I'm looking for a more sustained move to the downside. But, you know, I don't necessarily see it right now. I did take a trade when I was on vacation in this one, SOXX. We'll see how it plays out. I shorted it right here on November 9th, or sorry, this day, November 9th. Was instantly rewarded, was down about 3%. It's had a counter trend bounce. I think this bounce has run its course. I'm looking for a little bit more downside. I'm really looking for a move back down to 488.35. You can see on this hourly chart, clear bearish divergence right there. Right there. See how the momentum's just moving down and price was continuing to kind of move higher. So there's your divergence. Shorted it on that reversal day right here. Let me get rid of these little squiggly lines. And looking for, you know, it bounced back into resistance. I'm looking for that to reject right here and a move back down to 491.35 area. Or depending on when we actually hit that trend line. You can see that was clear resistance, resistance. We had this like blow off top pattern where it's just overshooting. Looking for a little bit more downside. Basically, I'm looking for a move back below this level right here, and I'm probably going to take some profit as we move back below this candle. All right. But that's not, you know, that's just something I did. It's not something that I'm really willing to throw out as a major trade idea. So it's profitable, not by much as of right now because we bounced into resistance, and I'll likely stop out. You know, if we can plow above this candle and start to work our way higher, I'll just stop out for a small loss. Okay. Riot and PayPal. Well, Riot is that's a Bitcoin proxy. So for Riot, you definitely want to keep an eye on Bitcoin. I just use the futures over here. So Bitcoin made let's see here. Yeah. Just kind of looking at that one. I don't see clear bearish divergence on that one. Yeah, I don't know. Not my favorite for shorting. Let me look at Riot. So Riot, I had a level outlined right here. It's kind of been violated a couple times now, so it's not really my favorite level anymore. I'll probably just get rid of that one. Yeah, I would say your resistance is right there up at 65.30 area. Yeah, I don't know. If I had to pick a direction, I'd probably go long, but it's not at a clear level. We just had earnings come out. It's not at a clear level, so it's not an objective trade right here, long or short. But I guess I'd probably want to be long if I had to pick something. Okay, guys, FCX. Yeah, that's interesting. That's copper. Let me get back to the stock. That's going to be Freeport-McMoRan. I mean, I like this one long, I believe. You know, I think the inflation trade is back on, it seems like. At least, you know, gold oftentimes leads the inflation trade. So gold was one of the first to run. Before oil started to run, before the ag commodity started to run, gold had already started its move higher. So gold really sniffed out the inflation trade first. Then gold went into a correction, and when it did that, the ag commodities and oil and some of these base metals started their bull run. Now gold looks to me like gold's resumed its next leg higher. These might take a breather, but you can see Freeport's already been taking a breather. So there's your uptrend line off the March 2020 lows. Let's keep an eye on. Let me see what we got going on here. We have negative divergence. Likely going to run up and pop the highs, I guess. That's what it looks like it wants to do, is run up and pop these highs. Look for that negative divergence to either burn through or remain intact. if you run up and make a new high, but it's a divergent high, you have a higher probability of failing. So that's something to look for. And for that, when you have a higher probability of failing, then I'd go to the hourly, and then you look for the breakdown on your hourly chart. Right now, don't have a super clean trend. We don't have a lot of data points yet. So yeah, I don't know. Mixed on that one actually. Apple. Well, for Apple, I keep an eye on these fangs. You can. Amazon's been trading sideways, right there at resistance. 3557 is resistance. We had a bull trap right here. I still, with this bull trap, I'm still thinking we're going to head down to the bottom of the range down here at 2932, somewhere right there. Usually when you have a bull trap, it's good enough to at least get you back down for another test of the bottom of a range. So that's what I'd be looking for. Negative divergence still there. Google's just been uptrending. So there's Google, March 2020 lows, clear uptrend line right there. Getting a little choppy right in here. You can see they're chopping it around, but still holding it onto it, barely, but still hanging on. Need to see a big impulsive breakdown on that one. Until we see that, still looks like it's in an uptrend. Probably could even adjust this line, maybe something like that. I don't know. Microsoft. Oh, actually, let's go back to Google real quick. And yeah, you got negative divergence. It's about to confirm too. See that? Okay, so there's your negative divergence. So look for a sell signal, but it's no reason to short it yet until you get that break of trend, and you'll know it when you see it. But until we get that, it's they're going to hold on to this one. Microsoft. Yeah, you don't have negative divergence really in this one. I don't see anything super bearish on that one. Apple, there's resistance right there. And again, we haven't broken out from that resistance. So it's right about 150, 150. Look for a breakout, or look for something around that level. But until then, it's still resistance. And this was your last divergent high right here. We haven't made a new divergent high yet. I think Apple's likely going to come down and test this uptrend line right here. Right down there. And that's down at about 138. 138.50, we'll say. Depends on when we actually get there. A break of that, and you're likely going to head much lower. But that's what I would look for. That comes off, and that level, that comes off of September, the September 2020 timeframe, and you can see all the tags of support. All right, so that's a well-watched level. Look for a move down there. Once we get down there, if you get a breakdown, then something else is going on. But don't if we're going to break that level, likely the other things are going to be breaking at the same time. Guys, leave me a thumbs up if you haven't done so. I do appreciate that. Those help the channel. Trying to just scan through some of these ones. Snap. That one's looked really weak. I've been watching that. It just, you had a big trap set. So this was earnings, I guess. They missed earnings, and all these people here are trapped. All right, most likely. All right, there was no reason for them to, they were up here. There was no real sell signals. They were good. They took it into earnings, and boom, big gap down. So they're, that's fuel. These are traders that are fuel for more selling, and if they haven't already gotten out. So the lower you go, the more these people right here, these traders, panic, and eventually they'll capitulate and sell. So you have an island cluster top. That's what this is. See the gap up? You got the island. You get gap down. The way that these sometimes can trade is you'll come back and fill. You'll come back and fill the island. So you'll run up and go like, what it does is it runs up, kind of works its way into the island, and then there's liquidity up there because all these sellers get their money back. They're break even, and they're just happy to get their money back, and they become sellers. So you have you have sellers up here waiting to just get out and get even. So you can short into this, you know, when you get up here, you can short into it, and then all these sellers become sellers with you, and then shorts pile in, and you know, and then maybe you go down. That's one way to do it if you see the move going up there. But for now, you know, that's where it's at. There's some support right here at 48.97, next level of support. Break below that, we got this gap right here. See this gap? So if we start to break below that level, I think we're likely going to go down and gap fill all the way down here at 29.16. That would probably be a final target if it, you know, if you see a move down there. Next sell signal would be on a break of this level right there at 49.15. All right, moving on. Yeah, Peloton that one got murdered out. I saw that the other day. Yeah, this was my short right here. You can see I shorted it right up there. I got out right here on the tag of that support level. But there was that was the short entry. I really like that one. I believe I shorted it. Yeah, that was back on December 20th. And, you know, it did run against you just briefly, and then ever since it's pretty much been downtrending. And the, you know, but again, it's not, you don't want to short after you get the big breakdown like that. That's not the time to short. You want to short into resistance. All right, so that's what, you know, you short into resistance, This one, you know, looks like we got some support down here at 36.97. We're likely going to continue lower. Probably start to put in some bullish divergence down there. So I'd look, you know, probably be looking to go long as we fall down there. But right now it's kind of in the middle of a range, so no trade for me on that one. Okay, guys, I'm just kind of scanning through here, looking for anything else that's kind of interesting. Probably run for about 10 more minutes, and then I'm gonna bail. What do you guys got? Natural gas. Yeah. What is that? NG. I don't trade futures, but I do look at them. Say that's your uptrend right there. At support, negative divergence though. See that? See how the momentum's just dropping off? You're probably going to get a bounce here, you know, where it's at. Maybe it bounces like that, but I think it's going to break probably sooner than later, and that's because this negative divergence is right there. Again, I wouldn't want to short right here and now. I'd wait for the break of the trend line. But I think you're going to get it. Although you might get a bounce off support here before it breaks. That's what I see on that one. What, volley or veil or I don't know, iron ore, I think. So this is commodity trade. Interesting. So there is. That's the trend line that I had right there. There was your sell signal. Right there, that was your break of trendline support. Your sell signal likely came with negative divergence. You can see that had been negative divergence had been building for a while, but it was there and intact. And your sell signal came right there. And ever since that sell signal, boom, just straight down. Now that's likely played its course. You know, obviously it's, you know, from the highs, this thing has come down 50%. So likely we want to start looking for longs. Let me look here. Yeah, so you're starting to build bullish divergence on the PPO. See it right there? See how we're starting to turn up? Let me zoom in on this PPO. Right there. See? Turning up and crossing over on the PPO. And we're making that's your new lower low. So that's a divergent low. So we have bullish divergence there. And it's there on the RSI as well. Okay. So you have bullish divergence. Let me look at the hourly now. We'll probably want to look for a break of trendline resistance. let's see what we got going on here. It's just a downward channel right there on the hourly. Let me see if I can draw. Yeah, I can't really make anything else on that. Yeah. I would say that's a breakout right there. That looks good to me. Look for any kind of pullbacks. You know, I mean, I would like it long here, to be honest. I might take a long on this. I like it though. Any kind of tag of support down in this area, $12, $12.15. That's a nice buy zone. But I like it here as well, to be honest. Yeah, I think we're going higher, to be honest. So I'd look, here's some resistance levels right there. Looks like we got one. Let me tighten that up on the hourly. Right about there. Potential target 15, 13. Again, you know, if you're taking that, maybe you want to sell a little bit ahead of that target. But that looks like a good short-term target. And from where we're at now, that would be a move of about 20%. So I like that. Although it could, you know, I think you're likely going to get a reaction up there. But so you'll probably hit it, pull back. Could be starting the next leg higher in this thing. You know, maybe something like that for a longer term bull market in commodities. This is a commodity trade. This is an inflation trade. Maybe something like that. I don't know. All right, I like that one long. Okay, what else you guys got? What else do we got? What else do we have? Pins. If it goes to 9, well, I don't think it's going to 9. $9. Yeah, I don't see any reason why we would go down to 9, but yeah, I like it here, to be honest. Again, one way to do it is just, you know, just build a position over the next few days or over time. Just my opinion, you know, but that's or take half now and you could add to it as it starts to work, or add to it on a pullback to potential support. I don't know. Different ways to play it, you know. Give it a little room, but ultimately it looks like we're in we're starting a new uptrend. Let's look at pins. Pinterest. Yeah, so there's your uptrend off March 2020 lows. I've talked about this one. And you can see you broke support, backtest 1, backtest 2, chop sideways a little bit, but it's giving it up and, you know, downtrending. Broke support here. Nice impulsive breakdown. Any kind of backtest into resistance would be likely an area to short. But we're starting to build bullish divergence. I don't know what's up with my PPO, but there it is on the RSI. So I don't know if I'd really be interested in shorting this thing now on backtest to resistance. I'd probably be more interested in looking for a long trade. We had this gap down here, this big gap, never been filled. So it is, you know, we could continue lower, but, you know, we have this bullish divergence. So that could signal that we're going to run up and at least hit that resistance. That would be a move of about 10% to the upside. I don't see a trade on this one right here at this level. We just gap filled right here too. There was a gap right there. There's the gap fill. So I think you're at some sort of a short-term support zone right in there. Did I cover PayPal? Let me look at that one. Did I do that one? Yeah, this one's just getting murdered out. All right, so these trend lines I just extend, but they're clear reaction zones. So there it is. There, that was your support to 25.82. But here's the thing: you had no bullish divergence, so we were running down into support, downward momentum, downward price action, right into earnings, and then boom, big gap down. I still don't see any bullish divergence, so I think we're heading lower. Let me look at the hourly, see if there's anything showing up here. Yeah, I don't see it. I think this one's heading lower. So I would look for, yeah, I had a little level marked out here. Pretty solid level down here at this 175.75 area. And a big gap all the way down here. Long-term trend is all the way down here coming off 2016. So you see the long-term trend, there's your COVID drop right to trendline support. So we could be working our way lower, you know, to hit this trend line. It's not gonna, but it's not gonna do this. It's not gonna just go, you know, it's not gonna just go like that. All right, it's likely gonna run, hit that, bounce up, you know, and then muddle its way and hit that down in the future. So in the short term, I think lower on that one. But it's in the middle of the range. It's not objective to take any kind of trade right here. You know, if you get a bounce back into resistance at 225.50 area, that's objective. Maybe look for a slight overshoot for a couple days and then a break back below. That's probably how I would look for that. And then short that thing down to the next level of 175, you know, 85 or so. Yeah, I looked at AT&T, and this one I know they've been selling off. These are kind of value stocks. They're paying dividends of what, 8%? Is that right? It's a huge dividend for this thing. But oftentimes those dividends can be traps. You know, really high dividends can kind of be traps because they'll cut the dividend. They can't afford to pay too big of a dividend, so they'll cut it, and then the stock will take a big hit. And then that's usually the point where you want to enter, is after they cut the dividend and after the stock takes the big, huge hit. You can enter on those things. Let's see what the chart's telling us. Let's see here. So just starting to kind of put in some bullish divergence. It'll probably show better on the hourly. So we've got some bullish divergence on the hourly chart. I don't like that. See how we're drifting lower? Looks like we're putting in a bullish falling wedge pattern. Let me tighten that up. It's like right about there. Yeah, it's right about there. Bullish falling wedge pattern right in there. So we got a bullish falling wedge on the hourly. We have bullish divergence. I'd wait for a breakout before I would buy. There's two ways to do this. You can either wait for the breakout like that, nice big impulsive hourly break higher. You want to see volume too. Look for volume. That's always helpful. And obviously you want to see a daily close as well. But you know, you can jump, you know, usually I get in when I see the hourly, and then as long as the daily closes and you get the breakout on the daily, then you're good. Or another way to do it is build a position as you fall to support. That's what we were doing. That's what I was doing in the gold miners. You buy down here, you know, and then maybe it hits it again. You take another position, and you do that, and then eventually it goes like that, and you're loaded up, and you've got, you know, you're profitable. But no buy signals yet. So that's how I'd look at that one. But I like it. It's interesting, you know. There's your daily wedge right there on the daily chart. So wait for the buy signal, or wait to buy at support. And then pretty thin. That's a thin zone. Let me look at this. Yeah, not really. So there's a level to look at right about there. All right, there's your resistance. So if you break the wedge, you're probably going to run up to resistance at 26. We'll just call it 26, right in that area. That's likely where you're going to get a reaction, or, you know, a breakdown or whatever. Doesn't mean that you're not going to continue with a longer term trend line or a trend up, but I'd look for at least a pullback there. So likely what I do is, you know, buy it on the breakout, run it up, sell it or get rid of it, let it pull back. Buy it back, and then see if we can get a break higher. Or don't even buy it back when it dips. Just wait for the break higher for your next buy signal. All right, that's how I trade that one, guys. Yeah, but it does look good. I just don't know if you got to wait for that buy signal. I don't want to buy it right here because it could run down and hit support, and I could get it a little cheaper at support. I want to be as close to the level where I know I could be wrong. So if I buy it down here and it keeps breaking lower, then I know I'm wrong, and I can be wrong small. I don't want to be wrong big. I want to be wrong small, so I can get out and take small losses. All right, guys, I got one more. I'm going to do one more, and then I'm going to wrap up, let everyone get on with their Sunday. So what would you like me to cover? Facebook-shop. Yeah, maybe shop. That one's been pretty strong. Last time I looked, Shopify. Yeah, Clorox. I can cover that since I've been covering that one in my videos. Let's see. Yeah, looks good. Looks good to me. Let's see here. Clorox. This is another value stock, so maybe we're going to see that the value trade. I think there's a longer term thing happening, and I can't prove it yet, but we definitely had a couple months back a transition from growth to value, and then that kind of took a breather. Maybe that's going to come. Maybe that's going to. We're going to see another play on that where we get another leg higher in value. Might be a longer term kind of macro trend, but here is the uptrend line on Clorox. There's COVID drop right there. Came down to support again, undercut it just briefly, but snapped back above it and recovered, and still hanging in there. We've got bullish divergence. Yeah, I mean, as far as I can tell, and even if you move this up, it's probably something like that. Let's go to the hourly. Yeah, I kind of have that marked out. I think it's on a buy signal. I think this was your buy signal right here, this breakout. And I mean, if you bought it here, you're profitable. It came down. It's moving higher. I think we're getting higher. We're going to get higher highs and higher lows. So to prove that, you need to see a higher high, but I like it. It looks like it's good. And if it doesn't, you break down and maybe you hit this. This is your buy zone. The major buy zone is down here. But again, that was your buy zone right there at 161.30 area. I did cover T. I covered AT&T already, so you can go back and watch that. I covered that about 5-10 minutes ago. AMD. All right, I'm gonna wrap up with AMD, guys. Yeah. Let's see what's going on here. 2016 lows. There's an uptrend line, clear uptrend line. Started to break down. They popped it, recovered, but that was a divergent high, and then failed. Popped it again. Let me see what's going on with this chart here. Yeah, I mean the RSI you still have negative divergence right there. See how it made an equal high in the momentum? There's a peak, they're the same but much higher high in price. I think that's, I don't know. This it likes to recover this trend line. It's like a pop and then it fails, and pop and then maybe a failure. So yeah, I mean, I am short the semiconductors, SOXX. I wanted to short triple Qs. My broker didn't have any shares to short the other day, so I just went downstream and shorted the semiconductors. But, so my short's really a short on triple Qs, looking for some sort of a correction, not necessarily a crash or, not even necessarily the start of a bear market. Again, for me, it all goes back to the SPY. And the SPY, S&P 500, has a major uptrend line here on the weekly, coming off of 2009 lows, and you can see This is your bull trend. Support, 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 support. Broke, resistance, and we recovered it. So we've still recovered it. So I'm not really interested. You know, I don't see the bear market starting until we break this bull market trend line. You know, we broke it back here. So I was definitely interested in like shorting, and like, you know, that's why I shorted the COVID drop. I caught that short, you know, and that was a big, huge payday. And I was looking for shorting back into resistance, but now we're above it. So until we're back below it, you know, I'm not interested in a longer term bear market. But that doesn't mean we can't trade down to it, muddle around, and then break. All right, so that's kind of what I'm looking for, but nothing longer term or, you know, bigger. No huge trades for me until we start to break that trend line, and I see other things break. So guys, that's all I have today. I appreciate it. Thanks for joining on. Leave me a thumbs up on your way out the door, and check out the course if you guys are new. Stock Market Technical Analysis course. It's about 4 to 5 hours of video trainings that I put together. Link in the description of all my videos, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Have a good one.